Good evening, BookTube. We're day 7 with E.V. Lucas's essays from Domesticities, published in 1900 by Smith, Alder and Company. And today is an essay concerning fires. And Lucas starts out, a friend of mine making a list of the things needed for a cottage that he had taken, put at the head bellows. Then he thought for some minutes and was found merely to have added tongs and poker. Then he asked someone to finish it. A fire indeed furnishes. Nothing else, not even a chair, is absolutely necessary, and it is difficult for a fire to be too large. Some of the grates put into modern houses by the jerry builders would move an Elizabethan to tears. So petty and mean they are, and so incapable of radiation. We English people would suffer no loss in kindness and tolerance were the inglenook restored to our homes. This ingle humaneness. Then he goes on. The table. He's talking the difference between sitting at a table and at a fire. The table is for wit and good humor. The hearth is for something deeper and more personal. The wisest counsels are offered beside the fire, and most loving sympathy and companionism are there made explicit. And he quotes some poetry about like a human poem. He says the desert village of being close and to the hearth. The hearth is also for ghost stories. Indeed, a ghost story demands a fire. If England were warmed wholly by the hot water pipes or gas stoves, the Society for Psychical Research would be dissolved. Gas stoves are poor comforts. They heat the room, it is true, but they do so after a manner of their own, and there they stop. And he talks about its flame is too artificial for the gas, and restricted a thing, its glowing heart so shallow. It says it has no voice, no personality, no surprises. It submits to the control of the gas company, which in its turn is controlled by Parliament. Now, a fire proper has nothing to do with Parliament. A fire proper has whims, ambitions, and impulses unknown to gas burners, undreamed of by asbestos. Yet even the gas stove has its advantages and merits when compared with the hot water pipes. The gas stove at least offers a focus for the eye, unworthy though it be, and you can make a semicircle of good people before it. But with hot water pipes, not even that is possible. From the security of ambush, they merely heat, and heat, whose source is invisible, is hardly to be coveted at all. Moreover, the heat of hot water pipes is but one remove from stuffiness. Sorry, I'm having a little difficulty. I've been on the computer a lot today working, and my eyes are quite blurry, and the light is not the best here. But he goes on and says, coals are perpetual surprise, for no two consignments burn exactly alike. There was one variety that does not burn, it explodes. This kind comes mainly from the slate quarries, and we must believe researchers that the coal merchant by accident. Few accidents, however, occur so frequently. Another variety found in its greatest perfection in railway waiting rooms does everything but emit heat. A third variety jumps and burns the hearthrug. One can predicate nothing definite concerning a new load of coal at any time, but particularly so if the consignment was ordered to be exactly like the last. And he's saying that a true luxury is fire in the bedroom. This is fire at its most fanciful and mysterious. One lies in bed watching drowsily the play of the flames and flicker of the shadows. The light leaps up and hides again. The room gradually becomes peopled with fantasies. Now and then a coal drops and accentuates the silence. Movement with silence is one of the curious influences that come to us. Hence, perhaps, part of the fascination of the kinetoscope. Kinematoscope. Therefore, trains rush into stations and streets are seen filled with hurrying people and bustling vehicles, and yet there is no sound save the clicking of the mechanism. With a fire in one's bedroom, sleep comes witchingly. Another luxury, he says, is reading by firelight, but this is less to do with credit of the fire than the book. An author must have us in no uncertain grip when he can influence us to read him by the light so impermanent, so that if the elfish coal nearer and nearer to the pages grow, and boys and girls love to read lying full length on the hearthrug. Some people, he says, keep a fire from January to December. Indeed, the days on which a ruddy grate offends are very few. Says the fire in the open air is indeed joy perpetual, and there is no sure way of renewing one's youth than by kindling and tending it, whether it be a rubbish fire for potatoes or an aromatic offering of pine spindles and fir cones, or the scientific structure of a gypsy to heat a tripod swing kettle. And he goes on to say how to create something like that, to put a kettle on there. And he says outside there is a second layer of longer sticks. He just continues on there. He quotes quite a bit of poetry in this one, more than usual. And the thing is, he at the time, I'm assuming people knew exactly what poems there were, because a lot of times he does not give the authors of them. And as I say, the type for the poems are smaller, and I can't see them here. It says, there is no fire of coals, not even the blacksmith's, that can compare to the blazing fire of wood. The wood fire is primeval. Centuries before coals were dreamed of, our rude forefathers were cooking their meat and gaining warmth from burning logs. The wood fire dates from Eden, or very little after, or very little later. Coal is modern, is decadent. Look at the passage concerning fuel from an old Irish poem. And he goes into the poem here. And it's just basically... he says, the care of a wood fire is, in itself, daily work for a man. For far more so than with coal is progress conscious. Something is always taking place and demanding vigilance, hence the superiority of a wood fire as beguiling influence. The bellows must always be near at hand, the tongs not out of reach, both of them more sensible implements than those that usually appertain to coals. The tongs have no pretensions to brightness and geniality. The bellows, quite apart from their function in life, are a thing of beauty. They the fire dogs on whose backs the logs repose are fine, upstanding fellows, and the bricks on which the fire is laid have warmth and simplicity. Yeah, and he says the wood hails from the neighboring coppice. You have watched it grow. Your interest in it is personal, and its interest in you is personal. It is as keen to warm you as you are to be warmed. Now, there is nothing so impersonal as a piece of coal. Moreover, this wood was cut down and brought to your door by some good-humoured countryman of your acquaintance, whereas coal is obtained by miners and bad-tempered, truculent fellows and that strike. Yeah, he just goes in again, more poetry. Let's try. It's just like Whittier's Snowbound is an epic of the wood-piled hearth. Throughout we hear the crackling of the brush and the hissing of the sap. The texture of the fire was the oaken log, green, huge, and thick, and rugged brush hovering near. We watched the fire and blaze appeared, heard the sharp crackle, caught the gleam on white washed wall and sagging beam, until the old style furnished room burst flower like unto rosy bloom. Sorry again, it's just small print for the poetry. It says, yeah, but the wood fire is not for all. In London it is impractical. The builder has set the cannon against it. Let us then, those of us who are able to build our coal fires the higher and flourish in their kindly light. And then he ends with, this is an agreeable diversion suggesting the medieval idea of the devil. I'll just start back here. It says, whether one is alone or in company, the fire is potent and potent to cheer. Indeed, a fire is company. The one need fear to be alone if the grate but glows. Faces in the fire will smile at him, mock him, frown at him, call and repulse. Or if there is no faces, the smoke will take 1,000 shapes and load his thoughts by delightful paths to the hand of reverie. Or he may watch the innermost heart of the fire burn blue, especially if there is frost in the air. Or, poker in hand, he may coax a coal into increased vivacity. This is an agreeable diversion suggesting the medieval idea of the devil in his domain. And again, I apologize. I didn't enjoy this essay as much, but I'm just having difficulty with my eyesight. Just when I read too much stuff on the computer screen, my eyesight turns very blurred, and that's why I can't read ebooks, because it just my eyesight goes really blurred quickly, and I need a lot of light to see. But yeah, the one thing I thought he was missing there, because I remember as a child having wood burning stoves, and joy was once the hardwood, especially hardwood, it burned down to some these coals, almost like a charcoal. It's just, there's not too many flames. It's just red, very hot, that you could toast. You can make toast on it, and it's just beautiful tasting. And it depends on the different kind of wood too. You get a different taste to the toast. And since he did a toast essay, I thought he would mention toast with that, but he didn't. But anyway, that ends day 7, and next one is concerning correspondence. So I will see you then, book 2.